Hey guys, it's Miss Foles and I'm going to be reading you Bone Soup today. It's a story that is spooky and tasty. Bone Soup by Alyssa Capicilli and pictures by Tom Knight. Bone Soup. One Halloween morning, 3 very hungry witches were looking for a tasty treat. They checked the cupboards, only to find nothing there. "Bare," said Naggy Witch. "Empty," said Craggy Witch. "Only a small, dry bone," said Scraggy Witch. "Only a bone?" "Only a bone, you say? Piff, poof! Let's make bone soup, sisters," crackled Naggy Witch gleefully. Bone soup is the perfect Halloween treat. The 3 witches carried their cauldron and bone far and away until they came to a door. The witches hadn't even begun to knock when the door groaned open. And there, the scariest looking monster they had ever seen towered before them. It made the witches shiver, but alas, they were very, very hungry. Trick or treat, we've something unusually good to eat. It's bone soup. Soup from a bone, said Naggy Witch. Bone soup, impossible, go away. There will be time for your tricks later, boomed the monster. Piff, poof, it's no trick. A bit of water is all we need, promised Naggy Witch. I'm hungry, Papa, said a little monster as she appeared at the door. Can we make bone soup, please? None of your tricks, boomed the monster. Piff, poof, only a treat, Naggy Witch replied. And in minutes, the bone and the water were bubbling inside the cauldron. Naggy Witch gave the cauldron a stir. She took a small taste. Slurp. Bewitching, she said. If only we had something savory. That's all it needs. But where can we find it? Look, another door, said Craggy Witch. The 3 witches hadn't even begun to knock when the door opened with a hiss, and there the spookiest ghost they had ever seen floated before them. It made the witches tremble, but alas, they were very hungry. Trick or treat, we've something unusually good to eat. It's bone soup. Soup from a bone, a savory morsel is all it needs. Bone soup? Impossible! Go away! There will be time for your tricks later, called the ghost. Piff, poof, it's no trick, it's a treat, said Scraggy Witch. And as the ghost was feeling a bit hungry, a most savory eye of a giant was soon bubbling in the cauldron. Bedazzling, said Naggy Witch, after a small taste. If only we had something, crunchy. And with that, the eeriest of ghouls brought forth a long, crackly lizard's tail. Piff, poof, into the cauldron it goes, cried Naggy Witch. An unusual scent began to waft through the air now. Doors creaked open. Creak. Windows squeaked wide too. Beguiling, said Naggy Witch, but I wonder, can a tasty tidbit or two be found? Juice of a toad, earthworms, dried dragon wings, drooled a bat. Colored flies, hot and sweet, snarled a goblin. Sludge, slimy sludge, whispered a mummy. Claws, claws, and more claws, rattled a skeleton. Piff, poop, hypnotizing, murmured Naggy Witch, mixing and stirring. Wrinkled fingers, old toenails, howled a werewolf. Oh, Dead leaves, cobwebs, and the wrinkliest of prunes, snickered a vampire. Even Naggy Witch had to gasp. Now the crowd was growing hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. Bone soup? Soup from a bone? This better not be a trick, growled the monster. He was feeling particularly fierce and quite hungry just then. I'll take back that eye, warned the ghost. And the crackly tail, grumbled the ghoul. I won't hang around much longer, sneered the bat. I'll use powers of my own, scowled the goblin. Let's wrap this up now, mumbled the mummy. Don't rattle me further, cluttered the skeleton. Oh, let's go, howled the werewolf. Before it's too late, snarled the vampire, baring his fangs. Bone soup! Soup from a bone, they whispered. Bone soup! Soup from a bone, they chanted. Bone soup! Soup from a bone, they roared. Wait, I know what it needs, called a small voice. You do? Asked Naggy Witch. 3 taps of your wand, Scraggy Witch, said the little monster. Tap, tap, tap. 2 spins of your broom, Craggy Witch. Whirl, whirl. And 1 wave of your cape, Naggy Witch, if you please. Whoosh! Naggy Witch waved her cape over the bubbling brew. Then she mixed and she stirred and she took 1 more taste. Slurp. Piff, poof! Imagine that, Naggy Witch cackled gleefully. Bone soup, and it's ready at last. Trick or treat, called Naggy Witch. We've something unusually good to eat. And as a full moon rose in the sky, the 3 witches filled a steaming bowl of bone soup for all. It was made with ingredients tried and true, and some monstrously new. The soup was scary, spooky, eerie, bewitching, bedazzling, beguiling, hypnotizing, and spellbinding. But most of all, piff, poof! It was bone-chillingly delicious. The end. And at the back of the story, it actually has a recipe for Naggy Witch's bone soup. I hope that you guys enjoyed that delicious tale of bone soup. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Happy Halloween week.